All right, now it's time to check in on my pals over at the Daily Wire, this time Matt Walsh, who is praising the Russian government because of new steps they took to limit transgender adults' rights. Take a look at this clip from his show.
Speaking of Russia, here's some great news out of Russia. Of course, Russia gets a bad rap, but the fact is that they get plenty right. And we hear that, Russia doesn't value freedom and democracy like we just talked about. What, like we do? Okay, we know Ukraine doesn't. I mean, we live in a country where you can be branded a domestic terrorist if you go to a school board meeting. We live in a country where pro-lifers are pulled out of their homes by federal agents at the crack of dawn because they protested outside of an abortion clinic. Like, that's what happens in our country. So what exactly do we know about freedom here? That's a question maybe we should ask ourselves. But in any case, here's Russia's latest alleged sin. This is from CNN. The Russian State Duma, or lower house of parliament, has voted in favor of a new law banning nearly all medical help for transgender people, including gender reassignment surgery, in a raft of new anti-LGBTQ laws in Russia. The bill, which had its third and final reading on Friday, prohibits doctors from conducting gender reassignment surgeries, except in cases related to treating congenital physiological anomalies in children. It also restricts registry offices from amending official documents based on medical certificates of gender change. The law must still be approved by the Federation Council and signed by President Vladimir Putin before it comes into force. Amendments made for its third reading included disqualifying individuals who have undergone gender changes from becoming adoptive parents or guardians, as well as the possibility of annulling a marriage if one or both spouses undergo a gender change and update their civil status records. Now, I mean, this is all great stuff. Of course, the claim that Russia has banned nearly all medical help for trans people is false. That's not what the article describes. It's not as if trans people are not allowed to get like heart surgery or something. What they have banned or are trying to ban is sexual mutilation of people of all ages, which is exactly the correct thing to do.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm old enough to remember when conservatives were patriots who loved America and who didn't basically paint a false moral equivalency between Russia and America. Oh, Russia has a bad rap. Yeah, maybe because it's an authoritarian country. This wishy-washy bullshit, this false equivalency conflates the US, which, yeah, we certainly have our problems, but it conflates us with an oligarchical authoritarian regime that slaughters innocents, that assassinates its political opponents, that suppresses minority religions and religious freedom, and that suppresses speech and only allows state-run media. So Russia gets a bad rap for a reason, Matt. Now, as far as them banning transition care for adults, this is not something any conservative that believes in freedom, medical freedom, or bodily autonomy should get behind. Freedom can never be a one-way street, and these same folks, the Matt Walshes of the world, were rightly raising hell during COVID about their right to bodily autonomy and medical freedom, not wanting to be forced to take things they don't want to take or wear masks they don't want to wear, and all of that, I largely agreed with them. But now, when it comes to trans issues, they flip the script, and now they're the ones who think that their views on medicine or their preferences should be imposed on others, even if they want to do something between them and their doctor that's different. There's a word for that. It's called hypocrisy. I, for one, think people own their bodies, and they should be free to pursue whatever treatments will make them happy. And yes, for adults who've had persistent gender dysphoria for a long time, sometimes living as the opposite gender and including medical transition treatments is what makes them happiest, is what relieves their dysphoria, what improves their mental health. And it's not for me or you to decide what's right for other people. And I don't want other people deciding what's right for me and what I can do in my own life with my own body, so I have to give others that same respect and right. But folks like Matt Walsh are just so consumed with obsession about trans adults and ideology that they don't see this inconsistency. On another key point, I want to point out that this "you can only do things that I approve of" mentality is not going to work out for fringe religious people like Matt Walsh. I fully support his right to live his life and raise his family how he sees fit, but newsflash, most of this country probably disagrees with a lot of his beliefs and a lot of the ways in which he wants to organize and run his life. We're going to start playing a game where the state gets to decide matters of your personal business and your body. It's not going to go well for minority viewpoints, of which extreme traditionalists are certainly one, and increasingly so. You also discredit the legitimate concerns and case to be made that minors can't consent or fully understand these treatments when you lump it in with blanket opposing rights and freedoms of all transgender people, including adults. The nuanced, correct position here is that adults should be free to live their lives how they want and do what they want with their body, but that we should have reasonable protections and safeguards for minors who can't fully understand and consent. But the Matt Walshes of the world want to go full Leroy Jenkins and throw out basic principles of individual liberty, medical autonomy, and everything they've said they believed on every other issue just because they're so obsessed with this one side of the culture war. Count me out.